and up-and-coming coaches go at the moment, the one that keeps popping up for me is Xabi Alonso, a man who's played under some of the best managers of all time in Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, Rafa Benitez and even Carlo Ancelotti, and he's one of the most intelligent holding midfielders we've ever seen. So how does this football and education translate right the way through to his own management and coaching style? Well, in most games Bayer Leverkusen look to use somewhat of a 3-4-3 shape, and the right wing back in Frimpong has a very different task in comparison to Nketiah. Whilst Frimpong is almost acting as a pure right winger in possession, the left wing back is looking to take up more traditional left back spaces, and this can form what on the eye looks like a traditional back four, with the right centre half dropping into the right back zone, and they can look to build out in this 4-1 or 4-2 shape with this back four in possession. But for the most part, Leverkusen aren't really looking to be a possessional based side. They can play out from the back with this structure, but they can often be seen knocking the ball longer and getting compact and falling on second and initial balls in the centre of the pitch, whilst using a very narrow shape to collapse on possession. This means that Bayer Leverkusen have different dynamics to how they can progress the ball out the back. If they feel that there's not too much pressure on the ball, they can look to circulate possession out of this 4-2-4 sort of on-ball shape. But they can also stay in this 3-4-3 shape, narrow the lines together and look to fall on first and second balls to win the possession back in an advanced phase of play. And this works a treat, especially considering they've got a lot of energy around the ball. Big centre forward like Patrick Schick, who is exceptional at winning aerial duels and anchoring the play, using hard-working midfielders who are incredible in both sets of duels. They have technical ability between the lines with Florian Wirtz and Moussa Diaby, and they have really energetic players and powerful runners in behind. But they do have some really nice patterns in possession. I like this one where they work the ball to the left or the right side of this back four shape, and then the two ball-sided players ahead of the 4-2 shape look to drop into the wide spaces, creating little shapes and triangles to drag the opposition players over. And with the pace of players like Jeremy Frimpong and Moussa Diaby, they can knock the ball into these wider and more advanced channels, and they can look to pounce on them. As most German sides do in the Bundesliga, the tempo of possession is really high, but Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen are looking to be direct, progressive, forward-thinking, and instinctive on the counter. Not to mention off the ball, Leverkusen have shown real promise as well. Most recently, the game against Bayern Munich, we saw them use a 5-2-3 off the ball shape, and it worked a treat. The front three often go man-to-man when pressing the opposition's build-out structure, because Bayern look to a build in a three at the back. But this shape is very aggressive and actually has quite a lot of worries in regards to the midfield security. But the way they use this 2-3 ahead of the 5, they look to suffocate the central spaces and force the ball into wider areas. However, when the Bayern players looked to roam into these wider spaces, it meant that Leverkusen could pounce on them. And when the ball was turned over, Leverkusen could look to hit them and cut through them in central areas. And Leverkusen aren't perfect, they're nowhere near perfect. They're shaky defensively, but they are most definitely fun to watch. It's adaptive, it's proactive, it's possessional, it's instinctive, and it combines all the core values of each of the coaches he's worked under and blends them together. And whilst they are pretty rigid and kind of raw tactically, they've become really good under Alonso, and he's doing a really decent job there, so who knows what he could do at the end of the season.